today we are talking about how to remove any collection from your credit report. Now, if you just follow my simple rules, you can use this to virtually, because nothing is guaranteed in this industry, virtually remove any collection. Not just any collection, but this can technically be used to remove any other type of account that is not a collection. Okay, we're not going to go too far into that part today, but we're first going to talk about the collections. Then I'm going to show you some other awesome things that can be used after you go through the validation of debt process. I am going to actually go in a little bit later when before I post this video as an archive, and I'm going to add in the link for you to access all 8 letters that I'm about to share with you. Okay, and we're going to go over these 8 different things that you are going to do to remove virtually any collection from your credit report. After that, I'm also going to share with you 19 different ways that you can dispute any account, including a collection. At the top of this, it does say medical collection. This can be used on other things other than medical collections. Now, the reason that we're starting with medical at the top is because if you have a collection that is medical and it is paid, you can use or attempt to use the HIPAA violation process. We're not going to go over that, but that is something that you can use. If it is not paid, then you would use the regular validation of debt method. On 2 sides, we have validation of debt, and that's going to be over on your right. Technically, would that be this side? I don't know. And on the left, we have the bureau side. Question is, why are we using 2 different processes? The answer to that is simple. You want to have the squeaky wheel going, right? You want to hit them at every single rung. You need to do every single thing that you can possibly utilize to get these things off as fast as possible. Just for a moment, imagine disputing an account and you can only dispute with the bureaus. There's no complaints that you can make. There's no furnisher. There's no collector you can dispute with. Obviously, that means that not only are you placing all of your eggs in one basket, but you're leaving everything up to the bureaus. It's going to be a slower process. That is why we are attacking from all sides. And remember, you can also, in addition to your disputes, you can also be, faxing them. You can also do a bunch of different things. It's called the squeaky wheel method. Okay. So without further ado, look at your screen. On the right side, that's where we're going first. We have the validation of debt direct to the collector. All right. So we have our regular request. That is letter 1. Again, I will post the link to access all 8 of these a little bit later. And after you have sent this out, there's one thing I want to add in here. You have to wait 30 days. The reason that we're waiting 30 days is very simply because of timeliness. Timeliness is a huge thing with this process, specifically because they have to enter the required notice of dispute. You're going to see that down here on letter 3, that the key to removing these is the fact that they are either going to not put the required notice of dispute and or not send you proof of the account. Now, what do you do if they send you, let's just say, a whole booklet, right? And it's got your signature over here. It's got your signature over here. It's got your signature over here. And you don't really know what to do because they've sent you the proof, right? I mean, the proof is in the pudding is in your hand. What are you going to do? Well, I can bet you that they are not going to enter that notice of dispute. And if they don't, they're in violation. If they enter the notice of dispute, but they don't send you the proof of the account, they're in violation. So that's what I'm talking about, knowing how to utilize this validation of debt process. All right. So this is very simple. Letter 1, request. Did they respond? Did they respond with proof? If they didn't, there's other letters. Letter 3, notice of dispute. Letter 4, intent to sue. And just as I was saying when I was live, maybe 15 minutes ago, do not send an intention to sue if your intention is not to sue. Normally, you are going to do this after you have already gone to the county court and you have filed. Now, after you send out that letter 1, what you're going to do is you are going to dispute with the bureaus, right? So here's how it works. Letter 1 to the collector goes out the door. You wait till the 31st day and you pull your report, and you're going to see if, number 1, the account is still there, and number 2, if that notice of dispute is there or not there, right? Now you're going to dispute with the bureaus. Okay. Letter 1 is really simple. I have no idea what this account is. And just as I was saying a couple of minutes ago, you can go and check out Cushman versus TransUnion from 1997. And if you don't want to read the entire thing, you can go to my channel and use the keyword search and put Cushman in there and hit enter. And you're going to find the video where I break down the entire congressional opinion on the lawsuit. Okay. So basically, they said congressional opinion was that that burden of proof needs to be on the bureaus. It's not on the consumer. And to place it on the consumer is just effed up, right? So you don't want to do the bureau's job for them, which is why we're not saying, yes, I know what this collection is, but the thing is that it's just that the balance is blah, blah, blah. We're not doing that until way later. You have 8 letters to go through to consume before you ever go over here to these 19 steps to success, right? We have 19 different things that we can say and 7 steps to fail. And that's why you are going to want to stay to the end of this, because we're going to go over that as well. All right, letter 1, account is unknown. Letter 2, proof of ownership. Letter 3, collector didn't validate. And letter 4, factual dispute process starts. So credit bureau letter 1, factual. Violations, past due or late payments on a collection, no collector name or address. Now, you may actually see this when you pull your credit report and you see, hey, there's a collection here, but there's no name on it. Why is there no name on it? Well, that name is supposed to be there. Want to know why it's there? Because in case you didn't know, the bureaus are in the data business. We talked about this yesterday when I was live. You weren't here. Why weren't you? Okay. This is where you are going to learn how to remove collections and charge-offs and repos and closed accounts and bankruptcy and everything else that you could possibly think of in the shortest period of time. Okay. So you don't want to miss these things, because then they're still going to be on your credit report. Your APRs are still going to be through the roof, and you're going to be saying, damn, I wish I had subscribed, because that means I wouldn't have missed these important videos, right? So here's the deal with collections. It's supposed to report the name of the company, the address of the company, because section 623 basically states that if an account could possibly be inaccurate, which is every single account, that the name and the address is required to report. So if you go and pull your credit report and let's just say Equifax is reporting unknown collection or original creditor account number 12345, and you scroll down your credit report and there's no address, hey, that's a violation of section 623, right? Because they're taking away your right to dispute directly with the collector. And that's no good, right? Credit bureau letter 2, factual. Go after the elements. We're about to go over those elements right now. DOLA, the date last active, the date last paid, the payment history, so on and so forth, right? And then we have credit bureau letter 4, notice of dispute, and then date last reported, so on and so forth. So this can be used not just on medical, like I said, but on, let's say you didn't pay for the gym, you didn't pay for your car insurance, you didn't pay for that, I don't know, that apartment, and the apartment was not sold. They did, assign it to a third party. Hey, these are things that can be disputed using this method. All right. And we did go over how to use this method to dispute other accounts, such as when you don't pay for your credit cards and stuff like that. But that's kind of tricky, because you only want to dispute something like that if it is outside the statute of limitations. All right. So we're going to go over something very, very important right now, and that is going to be 7 steps to failure. I don't want for you to fail, right? My job is to build a platform, right? Obviously, this platform was already here, but it's a platform for others to succeed, right? And if I fail at that, then I've failed at everything that I've been doing for nearly a decade here on YouTube, right? I've been doing this for 12 years, but I've been here for 8 years on YouTube. And, I don't want 2 years from now for my now 8-year-old to be like, hey, mom, what did your followers, what did your subscribers get out of you for the last 10 years? And to just say, hey, I have no idea, because, I gave them a bunch of bullshit. That's not what I want to say. I want to say that I, have a platform where I'm able to help others succeed. Okay. So that's the reason that we are doing this. So 7 steps to failure. I do not want for you to be using these 7 steps. If you are doing these, if you are sending out these types of letters, my recommendation to you as a business owner, as your online friend here, is to stop. stop. There's a better way, and we're going to go over that better way right now. And no, I'm not ranting. If you want someone who's not going to give a crap about what you're doing and for you to just go click a bunch of buttons for them to, I don't know, sell you something, then that's not me. All right. So 7 steps to failure. Now, pausing right there real quick. If this is too much for you, you can head over to my channel and access this link, or use the link that you see on your screen to see if I can do this for you. Now, unverified. I really, really, really would recommend that you only use this for collections. All right. I don't recommend that you log into, I don't know, Identity IQ, and you're like, oh crap, here's a new charge off. I'm going to just say that this is unknown. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say unknown. Don't say unverified. We're not using, 609 disputes. We're not doing any of those things. We are only saying that this is unverified if it is part of a factual dispute. Why is it unverified? Why are you saying that? What importance does it have? What facts do you have to prove that it is, number 1, unverified, and number 2, inaccurate? That is when you can utilize these things. But next one is method of verification. We talked about this the other night, and you can also find this directly on my channel. So if you just go to youtube.com/ask-Kristen and scroll down, you are going to find that that method of verification is normally right here. Right now it shows that I'm live, but for you, it's going to be right here where it shows that I am currently live. The method of verification, okay? That's a very, very important video because many people are sending out method of verification letters, and you don't want to do that. What you want to be doing is asking what that method of verification was right at the top of your letter, right? So, if you didn't see this before, this is how to write the perfect dispute letter. And I'm not going to give you any links to click on or anything, but basically this shows you how to write a letter that's actually going to get results, right? And one of the things that you need to do is, number 1, go through a checklist, right? This is everything that's included in here. And number 2, answer these specific questions, right? What's the reason for your dispute? What do you want the bureaus to do? Why do you want them to do it? Did they perform their duties correctly on the previous round? What is the outcome you're requesting? So method of verification actually goes in this part. It does not go where you're putting account number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, capital 1, the reason for my dispute, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't go with the accounts. It goes over here where you're writing that first paragraph or the first couple of sentences, right? Because that's all it is it's a couple of sentences, all right? So please make sure that when you send out a letter, you are not just putting, Section 609 requires that if you can't, if this is unverified, you're required to delete this, or blah, 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 or the, method of verification. Blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do that. It's a very simple question. It's a very simple sentence. The reason that I'm sending this letter is because I disputed last month, and, you didn't either respond to me, or you responded, but you said that it was verified. What was your method of verification? And that's it. Here are my disputed accounts. Account number 1. Blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm disputing it is because, and that's where you use, the Agero formula to build out your dispute. And this is exactly what I do for every single account that I'm disputing. Now, your next one is failure to investigate. All right. So if you are failure to investigate. So this is something that you can say, but you need to, again, back it up. How do you know that they failed to investigate? If you're just sending something that says delete this because you failed to investigate, you're not giving yourself any sort of leverage on this dispute, right? All you're saying is you failed to, and you failed to, and you failed to, and you failed to. No. Failure to investigate because the date last reported did not change, even though you said it was accurate, right? If they had verified it, then that date last reported would have changed to the date that they verified it. That's how you know whether an account, one of the ways that you know that an account was investigated to begin with. All right. Failed to verify. This is another thing. Don't just say delete because you failed to verify. All right. Now, failed, and that kind of goes through that same process. Okay. Failed to prove, failure to prove. So you can say in your dispute, when you're building that first, paragraph, or even in your disputed accounts with the Agero formula, after you go and extract the different things that you're going to dispute on the account to create your argument for that specific account, you can say delete this because you failed to verify, and here are the facts. Delete this because you failed to prove that I was ever late on blah, blah, blah. And Equifax reports this while the other bureau reports this. So we have an inaccuracy here. You get the difference? You can't just say failed to blah, 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 delete the account. All right. And then after that, that is when you can go to the CFPB. You don't want to go to the CFPB prior to that. And the reason is, and we talked about this yesterday when I was live, the reason is, we've been talking about kind of a lot more than just yesterday. You need to have a paper trail, right? Yesterday, we went and looked up the definition of exhaust your remedies or exhaustion of remedies. And it basically says, and this is, a administrative judicial thing, that you actually have to exhaust all of your possible things that you can do with the agency first. So with the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors prior to going to that next step. And that next step would be the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So if you are following what these other people and these courses and these gurus are telling you, oh, go straight to the CFPB, don't even dispute with the bureaus, or send one letter and then go to, dispute with, or whatever with the CFPB, then now you have no paper trail, you have nothing to back up your case, and basically you're just setting yourself up for failure. And that is why these are 7 steps to failure, in addition to credit repair suicide, which is using not mine or identity theft to, attempt to dispute, right? Okay, so if you want to increase your potential to remove any account, not just a collection, but any account, then you're going to want to use the things that we have over here on the left. I am going to make this a little bit bigger, and then I will just move it over so that you can see this entire thing. All right, so here is the deal. If you recall on this flow chart, when we get to the end of our, our flow with the bureau side, it says now move over to factual disputes, right? This is where this process is actually going to start. So we have 19 different things that we can dispute on an account, such as date last active, date last paid, notice of dispute, which we already talked about, status update date, we just talked about that. That was the date last reported, the payment history, first date of delinquency, the comments, the monthly payment, the high balance. You can utilize the evolution line method to keep yourself at the top of these different dispute reasons, these dispute elements. So these are the ones that have the most impact, right? When you get lower than this, now you're at the bottom of that rung, and you don't want to have to use those reasons, such as the type, the open date, terms, balance. Only use the balance if the balance is actually inaccurate or inconsistent. The status, don't use past due unless it is actually a past due reported on a collection, it is inaccurate, or there's some sort of violation. And then of course, we have CFPB, AG, BBB, and lawsuit. So you have all of these different things that you can go after. And that's not even talking about, pre-arbitration letters, Metro 2, all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to, can this specific type of account be removed? Yes, it can, but you have to know what it is that you're talking about. You have to know how to dispute and how to, extract these facts and put them into a format that makes sense, right? So as far as using these for a collection, the ones that are going to stand out the most for you is going to be date last paid, date last active, date last reported, the payment history, and the notice of dispute, not necessarily the first day of delinquency, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go and pull up your collection. Now, these are also going to be the ones for removing portfolio recovery, Midland, Calvary, all of those different ones, NCA, so on and so forth, right? So if you look at your account, go and literally pull up your credit report and go and actually physically check out your report. You want to look at the payment history. Does the payment history show actual late payments? If it does, and you didn't have a payment agreement with them and then were late, that shouldn't be on there, right? Another thing is with a collection, if it shows that you were past due on this collection, that should not be on there. By default, a collection is late, right? So Another thing is, does it say that in the status part? This is very important. In the status part, does it say that you are 120 days late? If so, that again is an inaccuracy. Did the date last reported change? If not, that should have changed because it came back as verified as accurate, right? It also shows you that they did not investigate, right? They're lying and saying, hey, this is verified, but oh, we didn't change the date. Sorry about that. The notice of dispute. Did you dispute it? And then they said verified, but it did not change. Another thing is, let's say they don't respond. We went over the whole how, what to do if the bureaus didn't respond or whatever yesterday and the verified as accurate workshop, right? So if you send a dispute, they don't respond, other things on the account are updated, but hey, this doesn't say, disputed by consumer in the comment. Now we have a violation. So I can literally go on about this for hours, but the point here is very, very, very simple. If you want to remove your negative items from your credit report, there's a very specific way that we need to do it. And that specific way is not sending out 609 letters. That is not using templates. It is not disputing online. It is not doing any of those things. It's not going directly to the CFPB. It is not calling up Equifax and saying, hey, Equifax, this account number 12345, yeah, it's unknown. Actually, it doesn't belong to me. You don't want to do that. Those are ways that you, my friend, are going to have to say, oh crap, what do I do now? Well, what you should be doing right now is figuring out how to create that argument using the Agero formula, right? Agero formula is really, 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 really simple. It is action, justifier, element, reason, and outcome. How do you use it? You take the actual facts from the credits report and you plug it in, right? An example. Action is delete, update, remove. The element is one of those that we just went over, right? So date last active, date last paid, notice of dispute, so on and so forth. And then you have to have your reason. What is your reason? Equifax shows this, TransUnion shows this, and Experian shows that. Those are your reasons. And then the outcome, let's say that you were late, but we're disputing this as not late to place the burden of proof on them because they can never actually verify a late payment. That's just the truth. They're never going to send you anything that has confidential information on it, right? You can say, update to paid as agreed or update to, whatever the new status is. That's what the outcome is. And then all you do is plug it together. Delete this account for inaccuracy because Equifax shows this, Experian shows this, and TransUnion shows this. And, that's it. If you are updating the account, meaning for late payments, you're going to say an update to paid on time. That's the Agero formula. That is how to write the perfect dispute letter. And so we just went over how to write the perfect dispute letter, how to dispute collections, how to dispute any account, and how to factually dispute a collection after that validation of debt method did not work. And lastly, again, the complaints. The complaints come at the end. Please, 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 please do not go to the CFPB until you hit the end. Again, exhaust your remedies. All right. So, again, if you were with me earlier when I first went live, I apologize. I had an emergency with my son right outside my office door here, and I had to kind of cut it short. But what you can do is if you are kind of here now and you weren't here at the beginning, very simply go back and watch it because even though I'm live right now, it will be a replay. And I promise you, if you follow these steps, you will be able to remove anything that could potentially be removed from your credit report. All you have to do is put the time in and invest into yourself, and you'll get these suckers off. These collections, these foreclosures, these repossessions, these bankruptcies, these tax liens. All you got to do is know exactly how to dispute and how something should be reported. All right. All right. That is it for today. If you need help, like I said, link is right there on your screen. I see it for myself, my740.com. All right. If I can help, I will. If I can't, I will recommend something to you. Okay. Or for you. All right. So that's it. I will see you later. I hope you have a great one. And I am going to get going now. Oh, you like that painting? I know. I love it. It's my painting. All right. So I'll see you later. Have a wonderful week. Be successful and be patient because this shit takes time. All right, bye.